Hey there, fellow creators. Ben here from Cinder Studios, and pop quiz. Name 5 famous artists. Go. So when you think about famous artists, you probably think of names like Da Vinci, Monet, Michelangelo, Rembrandt. Names that are, to some degree, household names. They're names that everybody knows. You say the name like, oh yeah, famous artist, duh. But here's an interesting question. Why do we remember them? Why do we remember famous artists, and why are they famous? Did they revolutionize art and create a brand new style? Yeah, sometimes. Was their work so technically skilled and well beyond anything that any of their contemporaries were doing at the time? Maybe. Was their work super popular? Probably not in their lifetime. Then why are museums filled with all of those paintings? And why those paintings? Why not some other ones? Well, here's 2 surprising theories. First of these, for a long time and up until very recently, art has always had a utilitarian purpose. Both Western and Eastern traditions have traditionally used art as a way to, as sort of a visual catalyst for the teaching of the religion as well as in prayer. Art has also been used to commemorate, document, or memorialize people or events throughout history, or as some sort of a visual record for science, research, and engineering. So art for the sake of art and simply creative expression is a relatively modern idea.
That's a very recent idea, and not one that I think is going to catch on.
The second theory here is something I heard recently, and it's kind of what inspired me to make this video. And it's that we remember these artists and remember these paintings because they're the ones that survived. Centuries of wars and the limits of traditional media have not been great on the preservation of art. With the utilitarian purpose of art, many pieces just didn't survive. They deteriorated or they were destroyed through the course of history. Art that was created for wealthy nobles or religious institutions were created and preserved for their significance, both to those religious communities as well as to the families where the art went to. A random painter in the 17th century just doing stuff on the side, that work probably isn't going to last real long because it just gets lost and forgotten with the artist. Because that art kind of gets forgotten, there's no real reason to preserve it. The artists we remember might not have been super high-end masters of their craft. Some of them may not even have been 100% original. Chances are they were grabbing ideas from other artists in their time. But because the work survived, that's what we value. You know, an interesting thought on this is a lot of the way we approach and remember art is because of how we saw it first. If you think about ancient sculptures in the classical era, so Rome and Greece, that we think that pure white, beautiful marble or granite. But we tend to forget, and you might not even know, that nearly every one of those statues at one point in time was painted. It wasn't just a blank slate up on top of a pedestal. They painted them. But because we never really saw them painted, we don't remember them that way. And that's not how we value it. So those are some interesting thoughts and theories about why we remember artists of the past, but what about today? Why does any of this really matter now? Well, to start things out, modern materials and conservation practices pretty much ensures that any painting that you're making today is going to survive. What was once a very utilitarian way of expressing ideas or events and things like that is now a way for individuals to tell unique stories. This creates a unique and very different way of approaching art that history has never really seen before. It's created a competition among artists because just being skilled isn't enough anymore. You also have to be able to share unique ideas and stories with your work. These days, creators aren't just going after fame, they're going after success and being able to make a living on their art. And I think going down the road, those artists that could achieve both in their lifetime are the ones that we're probably going to remember in the future. So thinking about that, what makes a modern artist famous, and what should we look for? First, I think that followers for the sake of followers, just so you have 1 million subs or something like that, is a really kind of shallow goal in my opinion. I've noticed over the years that as artists gain millions and millions of followers, especially on YouTube, a lot of times their obsession with that community causes their art to stagnate, wane entirely, or just frankly disappear, where they're just making videos and not really making art anymore. I don't want to mention anyone by name, but there are certainly a handful of higher profile artists here on YouTube that definitely fall into that category. There's also a lot of artists that will create really beautiful, photorealistic, highly technical skilled pieces without any kind of goal or reason or anything beyond, look at this pretty thing. That doesn't really mean much in today's world. Plus, sitting and painting in your garage, workshop, or basement in this case, and just doing that and being an art hermit, also not really going to get you anywhere. Personally, I think the most successful artists today aren't necessarily the ones that have millions of subscribers and followers. I think it's more the artists that are smaller time, the ones that are building and fostering creative communities, creating work that resonates with people both in and out of that community, as well as artists who are teaching and showing the creative process and bringing joy to those all around the world.
Textbook narcissism.
The modern social media circuit and platforms like YouTube or Instagram really aren't necessary for artists to be successful today, but they do definitely level the playing field, I think, in a lot of ways. It creates a way for anyone to be successful as an artist and really start building their own communities. And considering the course of history, humans and artists as humans have never lived in a time where this has ever been possible before. However, I should note that within these modern art communities, creators and fans alike have a collective responsibility and obligation to foster a positive outcome for this culture that they're creating. Okay, that's enough ranting for me, but what are your thoughts on this? Why are famous artists famous, and what can we do to learn from the past and bring those sensibilities to our modern, strange, and unusual artistic communities here in the present? Be sure to let me know your thoughts on this subject in the description box below. While you're down there, but a little bit higher up, check me out in social links in the description box below, including the community Discord. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this or learned something. Get subscribed if you're not already. And this has been from Cinder Studios, and I will see you guys next time. Oh, it's going to be one of those videos. Shit.